questions, obviously, and then we will come together and compare notes on what you've got. All right, let's come together and we'll go through a few of the questions just like we've done this morning. And let's start with logic. And if you would, if you've got a response you want to give to folks, please tell us what scenario you're working on as well. So let's start with logic. And which purposes would you use given your scenario and why? Yeah, which purpose will the evaluation serve? And why would that be the case? Remember, there's 3 purposes that we talked about. Yes. Oh, okay, there's a microphone.
Well,
thanks.
we kind of went back and forth. At first, we were set on learning and program improvement because in the statement it referred to improving the program. And then we went later and looked at the needs assessment and it didn't fall into that category. And we thought, well, wait a minute, maybe it's development and direction, even though they've already established it. But they kind of just established it and they didn't really do anything up front. And now they're kind of taking a step back. And we said that maybe the cart was before the horse. And so we stuck with development and direction.
Okay, and what scenario did you folks have?
We had the school scenario with the school counselors.
Okay, very good, yeah. You know, and in some instances, you could have more than one purpose. There's no question. Yeah. Okay. Any others? Yes, Crystal.
So we had the scenario with the home-based RX prescription monitoring program, so to speak, and we also looked at the real-life example that we had during the luncheon keynote that Tracy gave, and settled on the learning and program improvement. We're past the development stage, the development and direction. We're not really at the learning and accountability yet because we're still learning. So we're learning and improving at this point.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay. Let's jump to approaches. Okay, so given your responses above and consider your work from the morning application activity, what are 1 to 3 evaluation approaches that would be a good fit for the evaluation? Yes. Let's see, we got a microphone. Here we go.
Our group looked at the same program as they did with the pharmacy.
Okay.
And we think participatory evaluation to know from the people who are the stakeholders, the primary and the secondary stakeholders, to know what's going on. And we also want to do a process evaluation to know how the program is doing so that we will be able to improve it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Another response? Microphone, here we go.
We had the school counseling one, and our evaluation, one of our questions, framing it as you would have framed it, how adequate was the counseling program outreach to the students? Did it service the amount of students that it needed to service? How many did the counseling program reach? And the approach that we looked at was a participant evaluation. We thought that would be most effective to try to gain as much knowledge as we could from the people that actually participated in it. And then we also looked at a second question, how substantial and valuable were the outcomes? And an approach we thought might be a process evaluation to look at that.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay, great, thank you. Let's jump to use. What are 1 to 2 strategies you could use to promote the use of the evaluation? Yeah. People are tired. One to two strategies there. Or let's add in the other question, in developing a communication plan, data information, what are the stakeholder groups you'd want to include?
A discussion that we had earlier, and Paula, I think Tracy alluded to it during her talk, was about the pajama party, but Paula provided a little bit more details about how leveraging this pajama party with the outcome report that the Enos Park Project produces every year, bringing the media in for that. And Paula, I'm going to turn it over to you because you'll do a better job explaining.
One of the things that we did with the Enos Park Project was right from the outset, we said we would have an annual impact statement. And so we got the impact statement out and we were like, you know, it's on our website, we sent it to different people, but how did we get some media attention around it? For Christmas time, we had donated and collected pajamas for all of the children that were of Enos clients. So they all got new pajamas for Christmas. So we decided for Martin Luther King Day, it was a day off school, we asked them all to come to the small community library that's at that church that is an anchor in a neighborhood. And we had a Martin Luther King Day pajama party and had pizza and read books to them and had the media come to cover that and distributed the impact statement. So that got some media coverage, that got that out beyond just sharing it with our internal audiences and our board members and trying to put it on a website, but it got some community buzz around it.
Okay, sounds great. Any other ideas people had given their scenario? Yes. Yeah. Any question?
Oh, okay.
Under use there, yeah.
All right. Well, to get staff and family members and maybe the multidisciplinary team, we had the pharmacy one, to track referrals, start tracking referrals as a means to help validate whether or not they were using the evaluation and disseminating it, and then also an increase in donations. We are assuming that we were effective with our program, and so sharing those good results could increase donation.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other feedback anybody wants to provide? Okay. All right. Maybe we move to wrapping it up here. Okay. You want me to do it? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Here's a brief review of the day. Basically, we're arguing that there are fundamentals of evaluation practice, and it's kind of our way of trying to get a handle on the evaluation enterprise and the detail in it. And we think there are 6 of them. The first was with quality, and the quality dealt with the quality of the evaluation. It dealt with the competencies of the evaluator doing the work. We recognize that there's a wide variety of stakeholders, and we need to be deliberate and thoughtful about the stakeholders involved, how we communicate to them, and the like. All evaluations happen in context, so understanding is important. There's a way of evaluation thinking in the way that we process the information. There's a logic to it, is what we're calling it. There are a wide variety of approaches. We want to make sure we pick an approach that aligns well with the purpose and the evaluation questions and the like. And then we also want to find ways to foster use, evaluation use. And those are our 6 fundamentals here that we've presented. And all we want to do now is to thank you for your really hard work. And I know this was a long day, but we really appreciate you hanging in there. I also want to thank Tracy. Is she still here? Okay, Tracy had to step out. She, you know, we just met her today. We didn't rehearse any of this, but she had incorporated the 6 fundamentals in the Enos Park presentation. So, you know, that was thoughtful, instructionally relevant, and generous on her part. So I wanted to make sure that we thanked her for that. A couple of people asked, where do these case scenarios come from? They started out as, they don't look like what they were at one point, but they started out with actual projects that we were involved with. Except for the nutrition one. The embedded, the pharmacy one is one that I've been involved with, or had been. The College of Pharmacy at WSU has an innovative teaching program, and this kind of outreach, home visit kind of thing is part of the instructions that, and clinical experience that students get. And I've been involved with school counselors and school counseling initiatives for many, many years. In recent years, I've been more involved than ever before, and the reason is fairly simple. If you looked around the world right now, there are over 70 countries that are looking to establish some kind of school counseling initiative within their schools, because the students that are in those schools are enormously burdened and enormously challenged. Families are under stress, not only in our communities, say here in Springfield or wherever it is, all over the world. And I've done work in Korea, for example. Bullying, depression, and suicide are rampant in Korean schools, and suicide is the #1 killer of teenagers in Korea, and their guns aren't easy to come by, so they have to be more creative about it. So as a consequence, you can see that there are many countries looking at school counseling as a policy mechanism to try to address this. And so that's where a lot of my work has been going. There's a few deans involved, a lot of school counseling faculty members, a few policy makers, some school counselors, you know, around the world are involved. So it's really kind of, you know, disturbing on one hand and very interesting and compelling for me on another. And in the state of Washington, we have easily any number of districts that have 50 to 80 languages that are first languages spoken in the homes there. So there's the enormous challenges. So that's where all these come from, and they just get revised over time. We circulate them from workshop to workshop, and yeah. What else do we want to say?
Can you guys hear me? One thing I wanted to note with our fundamentals, it is what we've presented today and what we've shared and talked about is if you could do all the things that we talked about, that's pretty idealistic. And we are aware of that, but we need to kind of, that's a place we want to get to as an evaluation field, as an evaluation profession, as people who want to contribute to the common good. It's where we want to go. And so we know that we can't do all of those things all the time, but we can do some of those things some of the time. And at least having those things in your, you know, being conscious of those things and being intentional about it and kind of pushing the work forward. And it's you all here who are going to do that. You know, nobody else is going to do it for us. So it's the people who are in the field who are doing the work who are going to keep pushing the envelope and pushing for this and saying, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. So it kind of rests on us here to take on that responsibility to do the work that we know is going to have the best outcomes for our programs. So, you know, just keep pushing forward. Don't get discouraged with it. And thank you all.